Well, hello. Today is another wake up call with Karina, and I hope you're having a great day. I was told that the subject matter of today had to do with self defense, which is what I posted that it was going to be about, and have been hearing and processing some things that need to be talked about. So I made some notes because I want to make sure I remember what I wanted to say because that's what I heard talk about. So, okay, so self-defense. Self-defense can be taken in a lot of different ways. So one of the ways we look at self-defense is the ability to protect yourself. The other part of self-defense is, are you defending yourself, your inner, your outer personal persona, or are you being defensive? And that's really the difference. So let's talk about this second half being the part of being defensive. In my observations, and I'm sure you've observed this as well, there is much defensiveness to people saying things, even the small little things, people being a little overly sensitive to small actions, not having a little discernment about what's a big deal, what's not a big deal, and that's obviously subjective. However, let's wake up to the possibility that maybe it's a little too much. A little too much. We're not going into politics. I ain't even going to try to go there. I'm talking about everyday stuff. So in the observations that I've had this past week leading up to this talk, which is kind of how it works for me, I usually get a subject within 4 or 5 days, usually through an observation on an everyday day walk or interaction or whatever. But there seems to be a typical theme that is going to lead up to the wake-up call topic. So what was leading up was a lot of observation and discussion about how much do we over-defend and how much do we really just self-defend, and how much do we really need to, right? So this is a balance in this, always looking for the appropriate time and intensity of a response. Okay. On an outward defense, we have our energy, we have the energy of others, we have how we dress, our attitude, and then on the inner, we have confidence versus fear. So let's do the outer side first. On the outer, there are ways of dressing and wearing clothes that either is a defense to your inner from being seen or hurt, and there is the fake confidence because of the same thing. Interesting, isn't it? So the goal is authenticity, right? The goal is that your outer and your words and your thoughts match your true inside. That's the goal. That's what majority of the people I see are looking for. Certainly what I want in my life for myself and my family. So in the day and age that we have now with so much external presentation of inauthenticity. So the wake-up call is about wrangling it back in. Let's get some balance. Let's get some spectrums, right? We have all, I certainly have, I'm sure you have too, had days where you just feel like caca and you have to dress better than you feel to try to get yourself out of the mood, right? And then the opposite, which is you feel like caca and you dress like caca. The days that you hope you never see somebody that you know when you're doing your errands, right? Okay, so we've all experienced it. This is not anything in it particularly unusual. But on a regular basis, especially if you're going to work, if you work for yourself, etc., what you present outside to the masses, the question is, check in. Is it a defense or is it authenticity? Okay? And it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no perfection. Just check in. Check in. Are you always presenting the same person? And if you've been asking for a change, you're going to have to change how you dress. That's a real simple boost of a shift. In this outward expression, and are you defending yourself, right? Some of that will come back to you, to us, to me, by comments. Negative, positive, weird, off-putting, whatever it may be. If you push the boundaries of how you dress, and it's inauthentic to who you are or who you want to be, the comments may be very different. They may be more hurtful, or you may take them more hurtful. But you want to pay attention to the comments that you get back. Now here's the hard part. The hard part is not to take those really personally. That's the hard part, right? So how do we not take those personally? One is, if in your mindset you agree to listen to what's being said to you, not as a personal attack or even the support. You just hear what they say and how does it match what you are wanting to present yourself as. Does it match? Can it improve your vision of yourself? Can it help you move towards the authenticity that you're wanting, right? So if someone says to you, I think somebody posted on Facebook the other day, as women, it's not uncommon for, so I've heard it a lot, I don't know if you guys have, or if you're males and you've said it, seen a woman and say, hey, why don't you smile? It doesn't take it, it doesn't hurt. It's an odd kind of comment, right? But is it really worth having it ruin your day and getting mad about? No, why would it, right? So again, it's how do you want to respond inside, whether it's verbal or not? How do you want to energetically respond to something that either confuses you, that may be rude in your first impression, even that's complimentary? How do you want to respond to it? How do you want to feel about it? Do you find yourself saying, oh, that's a compliment, but I don't, it doesn't mean. Check it out. Check out. We're so habitual in our responses. This is what we want to wake up to. We're so habitual. So if you could take 2 days, 3 days, if you want to take the whole week, do it. and pay attention to your responses. Some of them may be habitual in a negative way, and they keep you from growing. And some of them may, you'll find that you take them on because you need other people to give you compliments to have your day work well for you, right? So those are the kinds of things we're going to look up for. The other part about the external is the response is one, and then how do you shift from the response if you want to get out of it, right? If you don't enjoy it, if it ruins your day, if it ruins your mood, even if you walk like a couple blocks after it and you're still thinking about it, it came in, it sat somewhere in your body or in your mind. So one of the ways to get out of it is through energy clearing, mental clearing. One of the things that's available is to remind yourself, hey, there may be other ways I could take that statement, that comment, that could work for my advantage. The other thing that's possible is that you can remind yourself that not everybody has the tools in society to speak in a way that's understandable. It doesn't, and they may be just saying things that they grew up with, right? So if we can look at people saying, hey, look, everybody has their stuff, and their habits. And so what if we just get used to changing our habits of our response and changing our habits of output? Now, the other side of this less spiritual side, more human side, would be if somebody made a comment that was rude, disrespectful, or otherwise. First, take a breath. Okay, first take a breath. Unless it's really, really intense. Then you take a quick breath and you say, hey, I don't really appreciate that kind of comment. So that is another kind of self-defense, right? Can you defend yourself physically, energetically, verbally? Without creating a fight, just, hey, that, I perceive that this way, right? A little less reactive, but still stand your ground, because that's important. As we get through, age-wise, 18, 20s, and onward, there's something that happens that we don't really talk about, which is the self-parenting aspect of our lives. And sometimes people experience needing to self-parent long before those ages. However, self-defense and taking care of self is also a way of self-parenting. Okay? So if you wish somebody would step up to bat for you, that's wanting a parent or someone in that role of authority to step in for you because you don't have the capacity for it. What we're asking you is to find the capacity to do that. And it takes practice. It's a muscle. You have to build a muscle little at a time, right? Don't overflex. But you definitely want to start working that muscle. And if the self-parenting aspect doesn't really start clicking in, what'll happen is in that same time frame is also the time where there's a desire for autonomy and rebelling and going against the grain to figure out who you are. Okay, as long as it's not self-harm or harm to others. However, if the self-parenting does not come in, that rebellious desire continues. It'll continue in your attitude towards life. It will continue in your attitude about working, about getting mature, becoming an adult. There's a resistance to growth. And so there's that caution, okay? So check out and see, is your outer where, your outer energy in this self-parenting? Is it in the rebellion? Is it in the making a statement? Is the statement harsh? Is the statement comfortable? Is it authentic to you? Or are you going against how you feel in order to feel better? But if you're doing it a lot, then we have to do some self-work, okay? And so then I wanted to shift to the inward stuff. Oh, and by the way, the self-defense part. If you have the authenticity and the confidence and everything's consistent, needing to self-defend usually goes way down. Comments and reactions to comments usually goes way down because you're really comfortable with who you are. And those little comments are not such a big deal. Brush them off. Someone else had a bad day, whatever, right? If you've had experiences where you actually are not sure you could defend yourself, should something come up and you live fearfully, which also changes your carriage and how you walk through the world, go take a self-defense class, not karate, not a self-defense class where you're actually beating up somebody really, really hard. A mannequin, not someone. Well, someone in a suit, I guess. Okay, go do it. Because you have to know your full strength when you're out of control. You have to know it. And so that is that's a physical self-defense. Okay. So now we're going to move into energy. When you're congruent, authentic, and your outside inside matches, the basic energy of your space is typically more comfortable. You know a difference between your mood and somebody else's mood. When you're not congruent, not consistent, or not confident, there is a melding of energies, and you'll walk in a room, especially people who are sensitive, more sensitive. Everybody's sensitive. That's what I know. If you're more sensitive than the average Joe or Joanna, you will take on energy just by walking past somebody. And your mood will change like this, and you're not sure why, and you will feel schizophrenic, and you will feel crazy. So it's really important that energetically you understand who you are as well. If you go from a good mood to a bad mood, likely you picked up something. You allowed something in that does not belong to you. And so here's a couple things you can do. And I live in both worlds. I live in the energy world and energy shifting. That's what I do. That's my life. That's my business. And so I'm going to see if I can give you energetic resolutions as well as just general visualizations, okay? This is not a theoretical battle. Okay, so one of the things you can do is visualizations. Visualizations work really, really well because the brain doesn't know the difference of whether it's real or not. But the body responds to the vision. So you can, if you're out of your space and you know clearly your mood has changed. You can imagine yourself in a place that you really enjoy that gives you a feeling of comfort, whether that's snuggling in your bed or walking along a stream. And it doesn't have to be a 10-minute thing. It can be a 1 minute, 30-second visualization where you just breathe and say, look, I'm going to let whatever happened, whatever exchange happened, out of my system, and I'm going to bring in this new memory. What the brain loves is replacements. So if something is not working, we replace it with something that can. And breath is important. Usually when we get into an energy that's uncomfortable, or we get into, because it's unfamiliar, we get scared or panicky or whatever, oxygen breath is really important. So you're going to breathe, not belly breathe, you're going to chest breathe, okay? You know, fill and move these clavicles so that you get lung space. And you're going to see if you can open your throat, almost like you're inhaling but widening your throat. Similar to if you have to take a bunch of pills, or I don't know. I have to figure out some other reference for it. I gratefully I can swallow like 15 pills at once, vitamins. So I know what that opening means, but it's like using these muscles that are here. See how they come up? So it's using those to pick up your ribs, okay? So a really slow, controlled breath. Don't hyperventilate. Now we want to get some oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange. So that's one thing, quick and easy to do. Even if you have to turn around so people don't see you if you're embarrassed or whatever. Okay. The other thing you can do is feel your feet, tap your feet on the ground, and hit the center of your chest. Now, this part is the thymus. Energetically, it's a tool that we use to help us remind us where we are. Here we are. We're right here. So there's times where you space out and you stare. Okay, that's a little bit of leaving your body. So bring it back in here. So that's an energetic way of bringing yourself back in. Now, if you're really far out and you're more the energy, you can also do a cross pattern, which would be take your one hand to the knee on the opposite leg. So if it's right hand, it's left knee. Right hand, left knee, left hand, right knee. If you can pick up your feet while you do it, that's great. I'm doing it now. I can't tell anything other than I'm swerving. But that helps resync the nervous system as well. So those are some really quick, easy things to do. I have some other tools and tricks, which we'll share along our conversations. However, the capacity and awareness to these subtleties may be different for different people. However, it is still really, really important to be able to navigate these changes, right? Some people are at a place where they need to check in a lot more in a lot deeper way than they have. And some people are just starting to reevaluate that things are off and weird. So especially when the winds come here in California, we have these winds. I don't know if these ones are Santa Ana's or whatever. It funks people out. It really funks me out. I hate the wind. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. And I have to learn to work with it because it drives me nuts. My neck gets tight, my shoulders get tight. I feel like I have to, condense myself to combat the game force winds here. Oh, I don't know if that was the right word, but windy, really windy. And it's like I have to, not get things in my eyes. I don't know. I don't know. I must have had a past life where I was in a desert when it was really windy, a sandstorm or something. Anyway, but what it does, it's interesting. It's not just me. I'm noticing it just literally blows people out of their body, out of their space, out of their normal place to be. Now that can be a great thing. If you notice it, but if you go too long with being blown out, then things start really degrading, energy, mood, blah, blah, blah. So our goal is to catch things quickly. We don't want to sit with them for weeks and months and years. We want to notice them as soon as possible so we can change them. Okay. So that's the self-defense. I hope that gave you some things to think about. I hope it gave you some tools. You know, for me, I notice that I get reactive when I see something being done to other people as well. And I have to remind myself to be gracious and not go into the easy direction of that person's, a jerk, or, how can they treat that person that way, and really see if I can help change the engagement with caring, with empathy. Not always easy to do, but that's my work. That's what I got to work on for myself. And when I see something happening and it's unpleasant, I get, defensive. I do, but not for me, for them. So, yeah. Anywho, so the more we learn to pay attention to things that change more quickly, the less it's going to impact us mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and otherwise. Okay. So I'm here today at the Crystal Shrine, which is a crystal store in Burbank on Magnolia, and you should come check it out. I'm here on Wednesdays, and come on by and say hi. But I picked up. I was looking at the shop to see what would be a relevant show piece for the day. This is carnelian, and this is quite a beautiful piece. And carnelian is great for self-courage and removing some of the jealousies necessarily that you might feel from other people. Energizing, vibrant gem of courage and confidence and success. It's thought to be good for arthritis, depression, boosting fertility, boosting energy, alleviating pain, rheumatism, and fear. Helps in boosting energy levels and overcome frigidity. So, and that frigidity can be in exchanges with people, right? You notice that there's a lot of social anxiety right now. It has been going on. Let's see. I'm trying to think back on my kids. I mean, every generation has social anxiety, but the dominance of social anxiety has happened kind of since the whole technology on the phone thing. So at least for the last 15 years, it's been like really boosted. Something to look at societally. So anyway, I'm going to shuffle my cards and see if I get something of interest, which I usually do. But if you have questions about energy stuff, if you're having a hard time changing your responses, if you feel like you are numb to your own inner outer consistencies or incongruencies, let me know. That's what I'm here for. I want to help. I want to get to as many people as possible. The world needs help. And we're only going to get to that better place as we learn to grow, shift, and be more empathetic. Okay. So let's see. And the magic card is freedom. The butterfly. I know it's backwards in the picture, but I'm going to give that to you like that. Transformation, right? Butterflies are cool because they can be isolative, but they also do work in a group. So it's a nice, really nice balance concept there. The colors in the card, yellow is for the third energy center, which has to do with self and confidence and how you feel about yourself versus how others feel about you. Green is in the heart area, which is self-love, obviously, I shouldn't say opposite. Self-love, how you love, things like that. Relationships, to love, being loved, accepted. And the blue is throat, fifth energy center, which has a lot to do with judgment, communication, timing, will. Yeah, so good card, as usual. Well, thank you for listening. Again, Wake Up Call with Karina is going to be every Wednesday, sometime between 12 and 3. Next week I have jury duty. I don't know what's going to happen. So it may be very, very short. We'll see what happens. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Remember that there's always 3 sides to the story. Think about that one. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if you have a topic that you would like me to cover, put it in the comments or contact me. I have my information on the Heart of Wellness LA on Facebook, also on Instagram, the Heart of Wellness. And yeah, you can figure out how to contact me from there. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.